Alright, let's talk about the Neomorph. But before I start talking about it as a whole, I'm going to talk about the history, like low-key. I'm going to talk about where they came from and how they differ from a Xenomorph, as well as the anatomy. Alright, now let's do this. So the Neomorph's first appearance showed up in Alien Covenant. It was created from an egg sac being crushed by one of the crew members and a tiny spore-looking thing getting inside of his system. From there, a blood burster, not a chest burster, would in fact try to claw its way out and explode throughout any part in the body. But in this case, for the person it was infected with, it was the back, and let me tell you, that scene was not pretty. Now, a Xenomorph and a Neomorph differ in organic appearance as well as biomechanical aspects, something the Neomorph lacks heavily in. Another difference between a Neomorph and a Xenomorph is that this one is automatically aggressive right out of the gate. It will always get to the point where these things will attack anybody on sight. They will also consume human flesh, something that Xenomorphs don't actually do. This mainly might be because they need human flesh to survive. Another interesting difference between a Neomorph and a Xenomorph is they do not have secondary jaws. Instead, like a goblin shark, it'll actually extend its front jaws and use those. And I know I'm going a bit off topic, but I want to recap on the history of these things. Now, before the Covenant ever made landfall on the planet that this is taking place on, there was a crew that went there beforehand. There was a Weyland-Yutani, or a robot, so to speak, called David, that had stayed behind and killed the entire crew, but the crew of the Covenant never knew that. Until much later on when he went to sabotage all their plans. Now, I'm a bit hazy on how the whole alien things start. Prometheus is like the prequel to all of it. But apparently there's an indigenous species of humans, somewhat, that were smarter and more technologically advanced. They had this black goop that would rewrite DNA and decay it, making something new out of it, or something like that. And from there, they wanted to spread that across the cosmos, Earth being their first destination. Whoop-de-doo. But they couldn't do it because it was shot down by something. In that ship, I believe there were aliens in it that were going to go colonize Earth. They were trying to take over the worlds and whatnot, but they didn't get a chance. At least that's what I think. So from that black goop came the little egg spores, creating this. Remember what I said about there being more than one variant? Here you go. And this isn't just it. The comics include like 50 more, or not even that, like 100 more. Maybe even more, I don't know. But yeah, that's basically what I wanted to talk about. It's honestly a very interesting story once you actually know it. Anyways, the Neomorphs are much like Xenomorphs in more ways than one. Just like how they're resistant to fire, they're able to grow within a matter of hours to be mature, all that good stuff. They can do as much as a Xenomorph can, but at the same time, not as much. Weird, I know, but it is what it is.